Great.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Brent Watson. I'm with the Career Services team at Woz U. And on behalf of the entire team and family at Woz U, we want to welcome all of the family, friends, significant others, our employer partners that were here this morning. You guys are in store for a wonderful day today, and we really want to just thank you for being here. Thank you for your support of these great students and soon-to-be graduates today. And you're just in for a great show. So again, just want to let everybody know this is a culmination of a lot of work that these individuals have put in, a lot of long hours, a lot of late nights, and they certainly are going to present you guys with a fantastic application today. So before turning the podium over to their instructor, I just want to leave you guys with a few words. So first and foremost, guys, you're always going to have some fear in your life. It's always going to be a key player, but you get to actually decide how much that's going to be. You can spend your whole life imagining that those ghosts are there and worrying about your pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, what's happening now, and the decision, that you make in this moment and the next, which are all going to be based out of love or out of fear. So many of us get to choose our path. We get to choose it, whether or not it's fear or it's disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossible and out of reach, ridiculous to expect, and so we never dare to ask the universe for it. Be fearless. Be fearless in your pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Be bold enough to use your voice. Be brave enough to listen to your heart, and strong enough to live the life that you've always imagined. Take pride in how far you've come today, and certainly how far you are set to go in the near future. One of the greatest gifts that you guys can give yourself right here, right now, in this single, solitary, monumental moment in your life is to decide without apology that you're going to commit to the journey and not to the outcome. So I applaud you guys. Congratulations on where you are today. And with that, I want to turn the floor over to Ammon King, their instructor.
Howdy. My name is Ammon King. I'm the instructor here at Woz U at the ground campus. I had the pleasure of being these gentlemen's instructor and watching them learn. I'm going to keep it short. I have 3 pieces of advice for you guys. Never stop learning. Never stop breaking things. Never stop wearing clothing. So then, here's your project.
Alright, so right off the bat, here's a little snippet of our code. Right. Right off the bat, here's a little snippet of our code. The likelihood of this meaning anything to any of you is very minimal, I understand, but it's the kind of thing that you share in these types of presentations. Whoa, how did that picture get there? My bad. So my name is Jonathan Moss. I will be presenting our web application to you today. It's called TraLocal. It's kind of a portmanteau of travel local. The idea of our app is that whenever you go on vacation, it's nice to get the local lowdown on places that are in the area. You don't want to get stuck just going to the touristy traps. And more specifically, the locals know what places to avoid. So kind of the conceit of our application is a collection of user-submitted reviews of places in users' areas of locations that you don't want to go to. Or maybe you do if that's your thing. It was coded by us. Our team name is Maximum Effort. I'm Jonathan Moss. We've got Steve Olson and James Suell. If we had company info, we would put it right there. So, just a demonstration of our app. I'm going to create a profile here. Let's see here, our team name is Maximum Effort. There are 3 of us. None of this matters for the purposes of creating this account. Let's say, I don't know, let's say we were born yesterday. And we've got some form autofill for the location. Email, we're going to just say Test at Tistacum. Okay, whatever, that's fine. And then you can select a primary interest that you might have. Submit. Passwords must match. Oh, it's almost like I did that on purpose. Okay, so now that we have an account created, we can log in. What did I name us? Max E3. Okay. So now that we're in the actual application, you can see we've got an area map, uses the Google Maps API. Steve was our lead on that end of the project. You can see a list of some of the profiles that have already been created. Here we are. And it's got some functionality too. You can even click here and it'll take you straight to your email to connect with other users. So here we can just type in an area. Let's see, I live in Phoenix. And it will populate with a list of reviews that are already in the database that are located around the coordinates of Phoenix. We had some fun building this, so here's a review of Outside written by my cat. Right? So let's go ahead and write a review. Show you guys the process of that. We are going to write a review of Woz U. I've got the address right here. Look at that, already populated, almost like I practiced this. There we go, review body. Non-zero chance of place. Flooding. Employees insist on scaring students with cardboard cutout of Steve Wozniak. And now, if we populate here, Woz U is here in Scottsdale. We can see here, Woz U appears right there, and the username, and our review. Our web application was built, coded in React, a library for JavaScript. We used Mongo for our database. It's hosted on MLab. Yeah, that's it, really. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
You want to show them? Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Okay, so just to finish the functionality, here we are. We've logged out of our. Yeah. There we are.
All right, thank you guys. Good job.
All right, guys, let's give these guys another round of applause. Okay, so before we let you guys off the hook and officially acknowledge you guys as graduates, we do have a few questions for you. So what made you guys choose this particular theme and this particular project?
So as we were thinking of things to do, one of the topics came up, obviously, was this. When we started doing some research, we found that there are, I think, 3 or 4 other ones out there exactly, the positive spin of things. So we wanted to do something a little different, play around, have some fun with it. So we're like, well, nobody's really popularizing the bad reviews of the negative areas. So that's kind of when we decided to go with that direction.
Okay, great. How did you guys divide up responsibilities in the group? Who took what, and what made you guys decide?
It was. It started off a pretty simpatico type thing. Like, I was really interested in learning the database side of things. Steve was really interested in doing the Google Maps thing. So we all kind of had our areas that we wanted to focus on, and as we worked on them, then and completed those things, and we discussed and decided as a group who would take what next task that needed doing.
Did you guys have any challenges? How'd you guys overcome those? We only have a few minutes.
Yeah. James, that's you.
Doesn't sound too bad right now. Okay, cool. One of the challenges that we ran into was salt and hashing of the password, or to go a little bit more in depth, the security of the password, like the login authentication. We tried numerous different attempts at trying different lines of code. Passed it over to Steve, Steve passed it over to me, I passed it over to Jonathan. We just kept kind of going into a circle, wasn't able to get it fixed. But then we all kind of just put our heads together, did a little bit of research, and we were able to get that login authentication and the salt and hashing to make sure hackers don't get into our site and steal any of our users' information. So that was one of the big climbs for us.
I think Steve can also attest. The Google Maps API component was a big struggle as well.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, and never mind. We overcame a lot. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So if you guys had 2 more weeks and wanted to work on a few additional items for the application, what would you guys add?
Well, since I kind of spearheaded the Google Map thing, as everybody's giving me credit for today, thanks guys. Interesting weekend of my life. You know, it has some basic features to it. I think if we had a little more time, one great feature to add to it would be, okay, so if you write a review, put a pin there. You know, due to time constraints of most projects, you know, towards the end we started to have to, you know, scale back a little bit, and unfortunately that was one of the items we had to scale back on.
Also, just today, Steve and I were looking at deploying it as a mobile app. Turns out that's going to be like $800 to do. So, you know, not for the purposes of today, but you know, that might be something going forward.
Very nice, very nice. Any other additions or anything you guys would like to add?
One of the things that we would want to add is just adding a little bit more style, like more towards the reviews, just to make it not just like a plain white box with a little bit of text. But say that would be one of the things is styling.
Very cool.
Make it a little bit more professional.
Very nice, very nice. All right, guys. Well, listen, the last piece I'd like you guys to do, if you don't mind, is you guys did some brief introductions in the beginning, and thank you guys for doing that. But if each of you guys could let the audience know kind of what your background is, what brought you to Woz U, and what you hope to do after graduation. So, Steve, we'll start with you.
Well, I got the last 10, 15 years of my life I've been in healthcare management. You know, doing some things academically years back when I first started, you know, college, looking at colleges, I started to go for software development and design. Got a couple classes under my belt and decided to take another spin on it with the healthcare management and the business administration side. Got a couple bachelor's degrees, one in healthcare management, one in business administration. Got almost full MBA under my belt already. I don't quite have that diploma yet, but like I said, I was in it about 10, 15 years, and I wanted to kind of take this full circle. So came back into the software development side, obviously here with the JavaScript. Now that since we're graduating and things like that, I got, I think next week I'm taking a certification test to join the cybersecurity classes that are offered here. Next month I'm also scheduled to take the Scrum Master certification. So,
okay. All right, very nice, very nice. Jonathan, how about yourself?
Right, so for the majority of my professional career, I've been in the food service industry, which is not where I wanted to stay at all. I got a job working for Glendale Community College in the computer science department. First as a math tutor, and then as a computer science tutor. Eventually, I was, I guess you could say, promoted to a computer science supplemental instructor, which is basically like a computer science tutor, but I made more. And then, so as an employee of the computer science department at Glendale, I was put on a mailing list, and I received an email from coder camps telling me about this place. And after kind of spinning my wheels for a while, I decided to pull the trigger and come here and check it out and see about maybe getting a job that pays even more than supplemental instructor.
Nice, nice. James, how about yourself?
So before I came here, I was working at Endurance, or otherwise known as Bluehost. So I was working for a hosting company, and I was creating mock websites using WordPress, and I was creating one website for my friend who was doing digital art. He was saying that he wanted to sell his stuff online, and I was like, well, you know, I'm the guy you gotta come see. So I went ahead, and about 2 weeks later, I created a few mock websites for him, and his fiance was actually walking past, put me on the spot, but she was like, have you ever thought about coding from scratch? It's like, I've thought about it, I've dabbled in it, but nothing to actually constitute myself as anywhere near a developer. And she mentioned coder camps. So I came over here about 3 or 4 days later and met with an advisor, instantly fell in love with the place, and that's where I've been for the last 12 weeks. But what I hope to do after I graduate is once we get the Coder for Life, right now I'm learning Java, C#, and also currently Ruby. But my whole end goal of all of this is to use my experience to hopefully become a mentor. And also but I want to continue increasing my knowledge and my expertise in this to not only put my foot in the door, but just kick that door wide open and make this a career and make this my end game.
Very nice, very nice.
Don't misunderstand. We're all interested in mentor positions. always be closing.
Well done, guys. Well done. So, guys, let's and family and friends that are here, let's give these guys another round of applause. Team Master. All right. So before acknowledging these guys as graduates of Woz U and potentially scheduling an interview for a mentor opportunity with Chris, I would like to bring Chris Coleman, the president of Woz U, up to the podium for a few words to our graduates. Chris?
All right, thank you, Brent. Just a couple of words real quick before we get things wrapped up. First off, to the friends and family that are in the crowd, this is really a fully dedicated type of program, right? So these guys know and they'll attest to it. You don't have a whole lot of time for things outside of the work that they're doing here. We recognize that the families and the friends commit a lot of sacrifices to try and make these types of opportunities possible for our students. So, big round of applause for the family and friends out there. To Jonathan, James, and Steve, quite an accomplishment getting through this program. It is an incredibly challenging kind of full-time commitment for ultimately 3 months. You guys persevered through it. You did a great job. It was great to see your project and kind of the outcome that came out of it. One piece of advice that I would offer you guys is just to take a moment, right? Everybody's going to talk about continue learning, right? And get out there and stay dedicated to your craft. One of the things that I think we forget about sometimes is taking a moment to look at the progress that we've made, right? And kind of reflect on the version of you that walked in here 3 months ago and recognize kind of the growth that's taken place. I would encourage you to reflect on what's been possible in terms of what you've learned during such a short period of time and trying to continue that as a principle for life, right? And that'll put you in a mind state of recognizing that, really, especially in technology, anything is possible, right? And you see a lot of success stories, and you can look at those success stories and things that you see in the news, and now you can kind of look at it as like, well, why not me too, right? Like, why? What's preventing me from being a part of that as well? And I think I think you guys are recognizing now that there's nothing holding you back, right? Other than getting in there, putting in the effort, and I commend you guys on the growth that you've shown and the project that you've produced, and congratulations. I got one more thing.
Please.
I got one more thing I forgot to mention. I spent a fair portion of my time in engineering in the healthcare space. And one of the things that I love hearing our students mention is a security first mindset. And it's something that oftentimes students don't necessarily mention as part of their demo day. And so recognizing you guys talking about the effort that you put in to secure the passwords, to secure the data for your users really is, it's an exceptionally valuable mindset that really speaks to a lot of employers, right? I had the opportunity of interviewing and talking to a lot of engineers, and unfortunately, over the past 2 decades, security has often been kind of an afterthought when we're developing products, right? We think about how do we make it functional first, right? Like, does it work? Does it look aesthetically pleasing? Does it please the user? Great. Okay, and then is it secure, right? So the fact that you guys are putting that at the front of mind really is a great approach, and that's something that I think is going to speak to a lot of employers. So congratulations. Thank you. Now
Thank you, Chris. And with that, guys, let's bring Chris and Ammon up to the front of the room, and let's acknowledge these guys as graduates. All right. So graduates, here's what we're going to do. So when we call your name, we're going to ask you to take those steps right up to the front, receive your diploma. There'll be a picture as well, and then if you can head back to your seat, okay? So the first graduate we would like to acknowledge is Mr. Jonathan Moss. Jonathan? All right, congratulations, Jonathan. Next we have Steve Olson.
I love that.
Congratulations, Steve. And last but certainly not least, we have James Suell.
I did it, Mom.
All right, guys, one more round of applause for our graduates at Woz U. So let's make this official, guys. It is absolutely our pleasure to confirm you as graduates from the Software Developer Program at Woz U. Congratulations to each of you. The last step in celebrating their success is let's bring everybody over to our Wall of Fame for signatures and photos. And then family, friends, and guests, please feel free to enjoy some cake and refreshments. Thank you guys again for being here, and have a safe weekend. Congrats to the wall.